Okay, so this is Shireen, who's just come from London today to do the permanent makeup training course with Katy at the Training Academy. So Shireen, what's your sort of background? What sort of jobs have you done in the past?
So my background's a bit random. After university, didn't really know what I wanted to do, so just fell into kind of, working in nightclubs, waitressing, that kind of thing. I've always worked in that kind of environment, then tried my hand at an office job, did just under a year in recruitment, hated it.
In fact, I think I recall you ringing up in your lunch hour, booking the course, and then pretty much quitting your job.
Yeah, pretty much in the same couple of hours. I just had enough, not really made for an office. So literally that was about a month ago.
And I think your other half is quite a flexible worker. He works for himself as well.
He's a personal trainer, so he's self-employed. So, very much always kind of wanted to head on to being self-employed. So that's kind of what my
because you can spend more time. It's always annoying when your other half can go away on holidays and you can't go with them.
And you just never see them either. So, that was very much kind of important to me. And also doing something artistic. I mean, I think this is very much... So you have to have some artistic flair to be able to do this. Just something that combines those two things.
Excellent. So what made you sort of choose permanent makeup? Because I know you had your brows done, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I had my brows done about 2 years ago. It was kind of like a birthday present for me from my boyfriend and all my friends. They kind of clubbed together to get it done because I'd wanted it done for ages. And I mean, I did like it, but it was a weird one. I actually really didn't like. The experience actually put me off a little bit.
Right, okay.
The woman who did them for me, although I didn't have anything to compare it to at the time, because it was the first time I'd had it done, she didn't have a very good bedside manner.
Oh, really? Oh, dear.
And I think...
It's a problem when it's a birthday present and you don't look into it yourself, eh?
And I think, looking back on it, I think she must have done it quite a bit too deep because it was extremely painful. I mean, this is me saying this, I've got about 25 hours worth of tattooing in my body.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it was the most painful tattoo I've ever had.
Wow.
And it was quite patchy when it healed. And
I think she did quite, because obviously a lot of people feel like they like the hair stroke technique, but then if it's not done correctly, you end up with what you said you had, which was like picket fences or something.
Yeah, it looked kind of stripy, which thankfully, because she'd done it so deep, it faded extremely quickly. So it was only like that for maybe 3 months or something, and then it just kind of disappeared. So they're very faint now. I never went back for my top up. That's how bad it was.
Oh dear. And actually you've been learning it today, haven't you? It's a similar technique but a more natural one. Yeah,
I mean, I think it looks a lot better where obviously you use the strokes to kind of mimic hair, but you kind of overlap them instead of just drawing like stripes. I mean, actually draw it how you think the hairs of a brow would lay. I think it's just a much more natural looking brow, but still, making them look a lot fuller. So good, it didn't put you off for life then? No, it didn't. But it was a weird one. I mean, I'd always wanted to go into something to do with health and beauty or something like that. It was just a case of finding kind of the one thing that really interests me the most, and I've always been interested in tattooing, but never really fancied being a tattoo artist. But this is kind of combined. And I suppose if you've had your brows done and everyone's clubbed together and paid quite a lot of money to have them done, and then you didn't have the best experience and you felt like they weren't even the best result, you must think, well, hang on a minute, I suppose it might have spurred you on to think I could do this a bit better. Exactly. I think it's one of those things where I think a lot of people are doing it, especially in London. There's a lot of demand for it, but I think there aren't that many people who are doing it very well. So obviously there's loads of training academies. I mean, even researching this, there are so many different training. Did you get to speak to a lot of them? Half of them don't even bother emailing you back. So they must be so oversubscribed because their prices are low. And they're shorter in length. I think they might be a bit less demanding. More people are doing them. But I think it probably shows in the kind of output that their students are doing. It's mad if they haven't got the time to even get back to you. Yeah, exactly. But obviously you ended up coming here. Is there any particular reason why you chose to train here? I think obviously like choosing this particular training provider. I'd researched a lot of the other ones. I mean, ironically, this is probably one of the more expensive ones in terms of the range. I mean, the range of prices is very hugely, doesn't it? Yeah, it's huge. And you might be tempted to go for the cheaper one in terms of initial outlay, but I I think it's one of those things where you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And, you know, it may not, I know a lot of them don't include the machine, for example.
Yeah, a lot of people do think, oh, that, you know, we're a little bit more expensive than that, but when actually you consider the fact that everything's included in this course, your machine, your pigments, your needles, your accessories, insurances, all one-on-one training as well.
And that's the thing as well, this is one of the only ones that's one-on-one training.
Yeah.
A lot of the other ones, you'd read reviews and people thought it might be one-on-one or maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people, but they'll go down and there'll be 11 people being trained.
I know,
with them, and I just don't see how you'd be able to pick it up.
No, especially when it's such an intricate skill that you're learning for the first time.
So yeah, I mean that was the big thing that appealed to me, that it was one-on-one.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, I'm commuting out of London, but it's less than an hour commute. So
it's like 45 minutes each way, which saves you a hotel, and you can get to see the other half in the evening as well.
So for me, you know, I had the option to train in London, but obviously it's a lot more expensive and just kind of offset.
Well, we actually train in London as well, and it is about £2,500 more to train in London for the same course, to be honest with you.
So, I mean, for me, it just made much more sense to commute up here every day, and it's quite nice to be in the quiet and the fresh air.
Yes, excellent. Cool. And obviously, what were your initial concerns? Because you were a little worried with the colour theory before you came, weren't you?
Yeah, I think reading through the booklet and reading about different skin types, and they're like, oh yeah, yellow, warm, green, blue, and you're like, what? Skin isn't yellow or green or blue. But actually, that was one of the things I was most worried about, because I just really didn't understand what it was all about. But actually coming here and it just being explained, you know, in English, it's actually really simple, so I'm glad that was sorted today.
Excellent.
But yeah.
And then you got on to doing some brows on dummy head as well?
Yes.
In mega quick time?
Yeah, I was obviously like, it's quite nerve-wracking, is it? And apparently tomorrow I'm actually tattooing a real life person, so we'll see how that goes. But no, picked up a lot quicker than I thought I would, so I'm really pleased. Yeah. Did you think you'd be able to do that first set even on a dummy head the first day? Yeah, no, I didn't think I'd be tattooing anything the first day, so no, I'm really, really pleased. I just kind of laid some of my worries to rest. Brilliant, and a good night's sleep tonight, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Definitely. Excellent. Take care.